Okay. So having taken a couple of moments to just get centered and present, um, let's work through an example of the hero's journey process, sort of from more or less from start to finish, recognizing that this is not necessarily the way that you'll always work through it. But this is more of a demonstration of how all of the pieces parts can fit together. And we'll see, because I'm also going to take you wherever this is to take you, and there may be components that veer off, as they do, because that's what the process is designed also to do. So what's going on? Talk to me about what's up for you right now and what the story is that you'd like to look at.
What's up is that, boy, it's really up to, we're only halfway through September, but I'm already looking toward the 1st of October and thinking, I don't have any income that I know is coming in my direction, and I'm already panicking about rent, and it's 2 weeks away. It's half the month away. And I'm already panicking about it, and it's just like every free moment my brain goes and my heart goes and it strings itself out, and it's so painful.
Yeah.
And it's so disappointing, because when I am sitting in any of my spiritual practices, I'm fine. I know the truth of me, I absolutely do, but it's like within not very long afterwards, I'll be doing something else and I'll find I'm clamped down again. So I try to shore myself up. I say, well, but you've been working a lot on all of the infrastructure for your business, and it's feeling so much stronger and clearer, and that's better. And I've been communicating with clients. Well, that's the problem. It's been miscommunication over and over and over for a couple of months. And stuff that I thought would be already settled and would be feeding me and feeding the financial pipeline is still completely up in the air. And I feel like I'm up in the air with it. I mean, it's just, I'm really seeing with one client in particular, the native-owned corporation in Alaska. They have demonstrated to me and to themselves when we met that they really need me and they want my work and they want my expertise and all that sort of stuff. But there has been such rampant miscommunication that only this week, and I met with them in June? Only this week is it beginning to straighten itself out and make sense. And it's because I talked to somebody other than the VP who runs the company. So now I'm waiting. I keep having to wait for him. And it's frustrating because I do everything. I have done everything he's asked in the amount of time he's asked. I've hit every target. I'm really accountable to myself to make sure that I do that. And the fact that it is not reciprocated is grinding away at me like and I go through feeling like, okay, there's something wrong with me. I'm not enough for some reason, otherwise this would be okay. And I know that's not the truth, but that's where I go. And I just, it's it seems to be based on so many assumptions that I feel like I'm walking in quicksand. I have always chafed at waiting for others to give me what we both need to get the job done. I've always chafed at that, and this is just, it's bringing it up again on a whole different level.
Okay. Okay, good.
I'm really aware that I have made these clients my sores.
Yes.
And so, of course, I've been beating myself up about that.
Okay. Okay.
Again, I know better. I know when I'm in spiritual practice.
But these are old patterns.
Yep.
And old beliefs. And the
Yep.
fact that you intellectually know the truth is not the same thing as absolutely knowing the truth.
Yep.
That's why we have this process. Because this is how you can get in and pick apart the story and shift the components of the story, because you can't tackle that whole story as a single entity.
Oh, good, because it feels way too big.
Oh no, there's way too much stuff going on there. This is why the process.
Okay.
So, I've made some notes, but what do you think are some of the major themes in this story?
Well, not enough is a biggie.
Yes.
Self-sabotage.
Okay.
Failure.
Okay.
From the sheet, dependent.
Okay.
And then there's and then self-judgment too.
Okay.
Those are the ones that I found.
Okay. In telling the story, the biggest theme that you kept on hammering over and over and over again was miscommunication.
Yep.
So I want to make sure that you're conscious of that as part of the mix, because that's something that's something that we definitely will look at in this. And that's not necessarily what it's about, but that's one of the major themes.
Yeah,
going on here.
I get that.
And we'll
clearly
look at some, and we'll explore and question some judgments that may be around that. So quick, just following the process of the worksheet. What are you feeling when you tell the story? What are your emotions?
If it isn't obvious,
yeah. It's for the record.
Yeah. Deep disappointment.
Okay.
Fear.
Okay.
Because because it's not in the present moment. I'm anticipating like crazy.
Yes. So, where are you in terms of safety right now? As you're telling the story.
I'm actually in a better place than I was because I did the meditation this morning.
Okay.
Because I couldn't even sit still.
Okay. So, subjectively right now, how safe are you feeling?
Really not very safe at all.
Okay.
I feel safer only because I'm talking to you.
Yeah, well, yeah. Objectively, are you safe?
Actually, yeah. Oddly enough, when I sort of send the sonar through my body, I'm upset, but I'm not unsafe.
Yeah. And part of the reason is that you're making this whole thing up. There's no truth to any of it, and there's barely any reality to a lot of it.
Yeah, well, welcome to my mind.
Well, but you and everybody.
Yeah.
But specifically, and this is a challenging awareness to hold on to. But isn't it true that right now your rent is paid?
Yes. Yes, I don't believe me. I've told myself that.
But that is the truth. And at least dealing with the financial aspects of the story.
Yes.
That's an important truth to remind yourself.
Yeah.
That right now your rent is paid. In fact, tomorrow your rent is paid.
Yes.
In fact, your rent is actually paid for the next 15 days.
Yep.
So if you're going to project into the future, project out 15 days, and your rent is paid.
Okay.
It's only when you're going beyond that into the future, which, just to be very clear, is by definition not in the present moment.
No, not at all.
That you start to feel unsafe and worried.
Right.
Because you're giving away your power.
Oh, completely. Yes.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I've had a similar conversation with myself over the past couple of days when it's been up and up and up. Yeah. And I will also say that I've had so little sleep that I'm grateful that I'm so vulnerable and exhausted, because it's going to make this more truthful.
It's going to make it more it's going to make it more difficult, just because you're going to be feeling the really uncomfortable stuff. But yeah, because this is so up for you, it's going to break down. We're going to bypass the, I don't want to look at that, because you're in it.
Yep.
And we're going to be able to, as we work through this process, get to some really deep stuff and then tell the truth about it.
Yeah.
So again, for the record, for those watching, not a requirement to do this process. You don't need to be in it to this level. But when you are, there's an opportunity to go very deep. But I will also say that when you are, it is much easier to have someone else guide you through the process.
Yeah.
Because it is very challenging until you've been through this enough on your own that you really have the references and you know you can do it. It is very challenging when you have this level of lack of safety.
Yeah.
To be able to, first of all, do the present moment or safety meditation, get to the point where you're feeling safe enough, and then dive in and question things on your own. So when in a situation like this is a time to ask for support.
Raising my hand. Yeah. Yes.
Just public service announcement. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have effectively dealt with the present moment awareness safety meditation, because I'm not going to take you through the process, but telling the truth, recognizing that in this moment you are truly safe, and also acknowledging that I am monitoring your safety is addressing that. If you were doing this on your own, this is where you would stop and listen to the present moment awareness safety meditation until you really felt safe enough to start questioning things.
Right. And I will say that even on my own before this call, right around 9:00 this morning, I went through it and I found that as I got to the end, I thought, no, not there yet. I backed up about halfway, and I hit the perfect place that right here and right now. Mm-hmm. I thought, oh, thank you, and went to the end where I could say, okay, now.
Excellent.
But I was very aware that I wasn't there yet.
Okay, good. All right, let's look at the meta story here. So we're going to look at your Kaka expectations, and you're aware that you've got a lot of Kaka expectations.
Oh, baby.
So convenience. What are your expectations of convenience? And if you need to get specific, focus specifically on what's going on with this particular client. We'll get to the bigger story issues with the broader stuff, but that
Okay, that's a way in. I like that. Well, it's highly inconvenient for me because this particular VP just, I feel continuously sidelined. I feel put off, and I feel like I can't rely on, when he says 2 weeks, I can't rely on his meaning it. And so the I see unconscious schedule I had set up for this has not been met ever.
Okay. Is it convenient? What's your expectation of convenience specifically about the timing of this?
Well, it would have been convenient if he did what he said. Okay.
When? Because convenience is really a time thing. So, yes, the fact that he didn't do what he said he was going to do, that's a whole other thing.
In the time
that
he said, I mean,
he
kept giving me time frames.
Okay.
And he didn't meet any of them.
Okay. And I'm nitpicking here.
Go.
But that's compliance more than convenience.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is. Okay, convenience.
Convenience is often so just convenience is the timing thing. So I'll throw out.
Well, I can tell you what I'll tell you what's supremely inconvenient about it is that what would have been convenient for me was that this was already established and I'm making money.
There it is.
And that's not happening, and I'm pissed.
Okay, that is your unconscious expectation of convenience around this story.
Yes.
Okay. Is that a reasonable expectation?
No.
Okay.
I just want it.
It would be lovely.
Yeah.
It would certainly be lovely.
That was the expectation I set myself up with, and so no wonder I'm here now.
Yeah. So looking at this from the perspective of what actually is and the truth, is that expectation of convenience something that you want to hang on to?
Oh, no.
Okay. So maybe not. Maybe
no, my stomach lining can't take it.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe being willing to say that's not really reasonable to expect this to happen in a particular time frame.
No.
So you can just let that good. You've let that go. All right. Agreement. What are your expectations of agreement here? And again, doing your best to separate out compliance from agreement, although they tend to get...
Yeah, they do. Let's see. Well, I can base it on conversations that we had both on the phone and face-to-face, which was we agreed that there would be, this would happen, then that would happen, and then this would happen.
Okay.
That there was a sequence of events that it was incumbent upon me to put together a contract in a certain amount of time, and we agreed that would happen, and we agreed that about the terms of the employment when we met.
Okay.
He said, I can't put you on the payroll. It has to be a contractual thing. So I said, okay. Then he said, put together the contract. So I did. In the amount of time, he said, almost to the letter, because I thought, this is precise. It needs to be precise.
Okay.
So there were agreements all the way along this.
Okay.
Which I met. But only I did.
Again, that's still... some of that's agreement, but the fact that you did your part of it, that's compliance.
Okay.
Which because this is a big compliance thing.
Yeah.
But I do want to filter out the agreement stuff, and also keep in mind, just because the CACA expectations are inherently unreasonable.
Yes.
Just the idea that things should be convenient and there should be agreement and there should be compliance and there should be approval, just that part of it's unreasonable, doesn't mean that these expectations aren't often met.
Right.
And the fact that they're met doesn't mean that it's working in your favor. So I think there's
okay.
so this is a tricky thing to sort out here. What I see here from what you've described with agreement is that there was quite a lot of agreement. There was agreement that you had services to offer that they needed.
Yes.
There was agreement, so.
Yes, and yes, exactly.
And you kind of went in there with that expectation, and that expectation was met.
Yes.
So I think on an agreement level, that's probably good here.
Mostly, yes.
Because it's the compliant. Compliance always seems to get tacked onto agreement. That we agreed to do this.
I'm having trouble with that.
Following through is the compliance part of it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm okay. Yes, I get it.
Yeah. So I mean, the agreement is we connected and we are on the same page and we understand each other and there was communication.
Yes,
or it appeared to be. These are the expectations I think of. These I think are the expectations of agreement. Whereas the compliance is who did what they said they were going to do,
right,
and who followed the rules, and who actually met the stated expectations. And that seems to be a big part of this not going the way you expected it to go.
Yeah. Well, that and I will say that the agreements that I thought were holding with the senior VP, when I spoke to the program coordinator, who is his second in command, last week, she said, well, there's a problem with the agreement that you guys came to, and now he has a problem with you and he doesn't want to hire you. And I said, what? and she said, well, here's the thing, the way that the company is set up, because it's a special kind of small business with the government,
right,
everybody has to be on the payroll.
Right.
Even part-time. There can be no contractual employees. I said, that is exactly the opposite of what he told me.
Yeah.
So that was where the agreement fell down.
Okay.
For what it's worth.
Okay.
And then again, so she said, so you're okay with part? I said, yes. She said, oh, so the agreement got fixed.
Right. Okay.
But, okay.
Okay.
Anyway.
Good. So let's go back to compliance. What
Yeah.
were your expectations of compliance here?
Well, that we would each do our part in the amount of time that we agreed we would do.
Okay.
And I did, and he did not.
Okay.
Repeatedly.
Okay.
And it's an interesting thing because many of the employment situations and client situations I have a really nice personal component to them, so that there is some compassion involved, and there is some not friendship exactly, but there's a nice working relationship. I get nothing from this guy.
Okay.
So I sort of feel like I'm throwing things down a dark hole.
Okay, I think we've moved on to approval, so we'll put a
pin
in that.
Sorry. Anyway, anticipating. What can I do?
But that's unconscious expectations of approval.
Yes. Oh, okay.
I still want to question some of your expectations of compliance before we go back to that. So, whose business is it that he does the things that he said he's going to do?
His, not mine.
So is it reasonable to expect other people to comply?
Oh, hell no, but I never claimed I was reasonable.
But this is a big source, but the point, that's a component that's causing so much stress.
Oh, it is. It totally is.
Is the idea that, well, I complied.
Yeah.
I did my part. And that's fine. And that part of it is your business.
Yep.
And that part of it is you being in integrity. But these expectations that they would also comply and the agreements would be there and that this would happen in a convenient time frame have all contributed to making this a much bigger deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are you willing to let go of expectations that he's going to do what he says he's going to do? And that he should do what he's going to do?
Yeah, I reserve the right to put his face on a dartboard, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. There's still some resentment there. That's okay.
Well, if
you're not ready to let go of it, you're not ready to let go of it. You don't have to. I'm just asking, are you?
Yeah, I'm willing.
Okay. Okay, good.
I'll work on it.
Good. Well,
for my own sanity, the hell with him.
Well, and also, doesn't anger feel a hell of a lot better than you felt 15 minutes ago?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're not done with that yet. You are perfectly entitled to be pissed off about this schmuck until it stops feeling better
to be angry
than the alternative.
Yeah, right.
Because I know this isn't something that you want to carry with you
normally,
but by contrast, in the moment, right now, here's how that's serving you. So you don't have to let go of it. And then approval. So we started touching on that a little bit. The fact that there should be some sort of a human, like you enjoy working with these people, that I think falls under approval.
Yeah, I think it does too. I mean, I recognize that they don't know me.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of working relationships, you never know who
mm-hmm.
somebody is. I get that. Part of the reason that I don't work in corporate America anymore is for precisely that reason.
Because your expectations of approval weren't being met?
In great part, yeah. I felt like, well, that's a whole other story.
No, but it's.
But yeah, it's a factor though. It's a factor though. I mean, I found that people were more interested in looking at a form and following what it said than having a human conversation.
Okay.
And I don't want to live my life that way.
Okay.
By that same token, because this company in Alaska specifically was formed to support a native population in a village that needs the support desperately, it is based on human compassion.
Okay.
So I guess I just didn't expect this black hole.
Okay, so that's certainly another expectation there, that it, so you went into this with a lot of expectations.
I did.
Some of them were caca, some of them were just caca. What should have happened? Let's move on to your judgments. What should have happened here to meet your expectations?
What should have happened is that when I sent him the contract that I put together, which I researched the snot out of to make sure it was not a bad contract.
Right.
Excuse me. That he would have looked at it in a timely fashion.
Okay.
He would have then said, I need to redirect because there's something that this company needs that we didn't address.
Mm-hmm.
And that frankly, I'd be working by now.
Okay.
And supporting them and making money.
Okay. And why didn't this happen? Get judgy.
Well, because he didn't take care of business.
Why didn't he take care of business?
Because he doesn't care.
Why doesn't he care?
I don't know.
What's wrong with him that he didn't take care of business?
He's a Republican? I don't know.
What else is he?
I don't know why he did what he did. Why he didn't do it. I absolutely don't know. My judgment is that as the head of this company, he should do a better job.
And so, what isn't he? What is he lacking?
How much time you got? No, he's, I don't know how the hell he's running this company.
Okay.
If something small like this falls on its butt so completely, I can't imagine what he's doing running that company.
Okay.
God, thinking it that way gives me some real pause. I find that the biggest thing is that I do not want any kind of relationship with this man. I want to work with his second in command a lot. I don't want to work with him at all.
Why? What are the qualities that he has or that he's lacking that are so unacceptable that you do not want to work with him? Why is he not doing his job? Why is he not meeting your expectations?
He's not keeping his agreements.
Okay, he's not keeping his agreements.
Well, complying. It's compliance more than agreement. Yeah.
Okay. Anything on a personal level?
Is
he lacking compassion? Is he lacking intelligence? Is he lacking integrity?
I felt, I don't know. I didn't get much from him at all.
Okay.
So I'm the way that I think about people is that everybody has something to offer. Everybody.
Okay.
Because all of us are pieces of God, we all have something to offer each other. We all do. I didn't get much.
Okay.
And so it makes me not want to pursue having any more.
Okay. Okay. This is one of the areas where the process can veer off in a somewhat unrelated direction. Because you have uncovered massive judgments that you have about yourself. Because it's not about this guy, it's about you.
Yeah.
And it's not about, I don't know how he can run his business if something so small knocks him down. It's you. I don't know how I can run my business if something this small knocks me down.
That feels exactly true.
Yeah. So
the
reason for if there's somebody else involved and they didn't do their job or meet the expectations, the reason for the really diving in and figuring out what the hell the judgments are is because that's going to give you a chance to become conscious of the judgments that you're holding against yourself. And
right.
Sometimes the big issue is about that.
Yeah. I get that. Because I know that I wouldn't see it in him if I didn't own it myself.
Yeah, but still, see, that's the little spiritual Band-Aid.
Oh yeah.
It's to get to the point where you can answer those questions honestly, even remembering in the back of your mind that it's going to come back and bite you because you know the truth about it. Sometimes takes getting upset. Sometimes takes always takes diving into victim consciousness. Those why questions I was trying to lead you into, and I'm going to do it again later, but trying to take you deep into victim consciousness to figure out what are the judgments here. What's this guy lacking? He also doesn't keep his commitments, which is an ongoing theme here in this story.
Yeah.
And an ongoing challenge for you.
Yes.
Moving into right relationship with Saturn. The places where you make commitments and those commitments are possibly unreasonable, or even if they seemed reasonable at the time, the fact, and you're not able to meet them.
Yeah.
you bury your head in the sand the same way this guy did. You put it off somewhere. You put it on a shelf. You wait until it starts to smell. You wait until somebody comes and says, calls you on the carpet about it. Rather than, and this is part of the value of the list exercise, is that you get more acclimated to, as soon as you realize you made a commitment and you didn't live up to the commitment, acknowledge it.
Yes.
It closes that gap. It's a small thing. The world's not going to end. So that's a huge component of this, and a major theme. It's not just this story, but this is a way that this story is shining light on, it's still about Saturn. It's still about what everything else has always been about. It's still about the big issue, but it's a big issue. It's part of what you came here to work on in this lifetime.
Yes.
It's not something that that a few days with the list and a couple of platitudes is gonna fix.
No. If that were true, it would be done.
Yeah. So limit how much you're beating yourself up at the moment for going, really, this again? Because you're still learning. You're still working with this. And the big unconscious judgment that I'm just going to call out right now, that I'm going to invite you to get rid of right away, is the idea that you should already know this. Because I'm going to see that thought running through you. No. Absolutely not. You're learning this.
Yeah.
This is... You're not supposed to already know it. This is what you came here to learn.
I got you.
So, it's another opportunity to learn it. Okay, moving on.
It feels different this time. It definitely
does. Because you have a greater awareness.
Yeah.
And because you're ready to address this from a level of, I'm done feeling these feelings. So you've been feeling the feelings.
Yep.
And they're leaving because you haven't been resisting these feelings. And we're working through it with this story. And you're raising the truth quotient. And the bigger part of the truth is you have made a lot of progress with this particular lesson. And you're ready to take it on in a more conscious way. And that's what this is about.
Right.
And doesn't that feel more empowering and more true than anything else in this story?
Oh, absolutely. And I'll come clean, too. Yikes. The cat just did something crazy. Waking up this morning and having to get up and feeling so exhausted and thinking, I don't know what story to work on and I'm feeling unsafe. It was all I could do not to cancel.
I know.
And I looked at it and I said, no, that's why you got to do it.
I have for myself also learned to recognize that level of resistance and discomfort always precedes a major breakthrough and a major healing. It means that I am close to something so old and so ripe and so ready to be unpacked.
Yes.
And part of what this process does is systematically and gently and gradually unpacks it. You don't have to dive in and be traumatized by it. That's not how it works.
Yeah. No Chinese suicide, please.
Yeah. So, okay, let's look at the story itself. So what's the objective story here?
The objective story is it started with an interview to get part-time recurring work as an editor, which is something in a field that is absolutely in my wheelhouse.
Okay.
with a company that does proposals and seemed like a really great fit. So I went and interviewed with the principals here in town.
Okay.
And everything looked like it was going to be a great fit.
Okay, that's not.
I'm not sure what I got a little off. Sorry.
Okay, so the objective story is just what happened. If I were watching this, just the events specifically surrounding this company.
Okay, I interviewed with the two principals of the company about working with and for them.
Okay.
And we set up agreements on how we were going to do that.
Okay. And then what happened?
And there were timing and communication and compliance issues that got in the way of it, and so 3 months later, I'm still waiting.
Okay. What were your choices here? Where were the choice points in this story?
Well, the first one, I think, the first one was when he said, you have to make up the contract. And I thought, wow, you're the one with the company, and I'd be working with you. I'm surprised you want me to make up a contract. Okay. But I thought, well, I'm smart enough to do it. Okay, I will choose to do that.
Okay.
And it did end up being helpful to me in a lot of other ways. So there was that.
Okay.
When the VP did not comply with the timing we'd set up, mm-hmm. There are points all the way along this timeline I could have said, screw it. I'm done. I'm not going to bother anymore.
Okay.
And I looked at those all the way through. You have to say, okay, I could let it go. And then something in me said, no, this is a worthwhile company. They're doing worthwhile work.
At each of those points, what was happening? What prompted the idea that I'm at a place where I could just say screw it?
When I didn't get anything, when I got either put off or ignored, it seemed ignored by the senior VP.
So what had you done at that moment that created this as being a point where you were making a decision? You followed up in some way.
Yes, I would. I emailed and said, "Do you need another copy of the contract? Is there more information you need to know?" That kind of thing.
Okay.
I did that about 2 or 3 times.
Okay. All right.
And at each of those, before writing the email, I sat with it and said, "What do you want to do?"
Okay. I want to back up first to shoulda, coulda, wouldas on the you need to write the contract.
Mm-hmm.
What were your other choices there? You agreed to take this on and write a contract. What else could you have done?
Actually, I don't know that I could have done anything else. The way it seemed like that was the only avenue I had in front of me.
But now looking back at it, because the issue, part of what's causing you discomfort about this story is not what actually happened in the story, but you're looking back at it and saying, well, I should have done this, I should have. So from the perspective of today, what other options, even though you didn't see them at the time, if this showed up in your face today, what were your choices?
I believe I would have asked him if there were any kind of contractual agreements like that already in place, and could we use one of those as a model?
Okay.
Because I felt like I was operating in the dark.
Okay. Could you have asked him to provide a contract for you, since this wasn't something that was part of your wheelhouse?
I now look back and wonder why I didn't, but I didn't.
We're not there. We're not there yet. The why you didn't make that choice is a separate thing.
Yeah.
But let's acknowledge that part of you right now is saying, "Well, I should have done that."
Yeah. Part of me is saying that.
Yeah. So this is what these shoulda, coulda, wouldas are about.
And
First,
said it
you
all
have
the
to
way through
identify,
making a
because you may not even be conscious of all of the ways that you're judging that you screwed up.
Right.
So this was a big choice point that you agreed to partner with this person who was saying, now I got to put the onus on you to write a contract.
Right. Because what he said was, write the contract, send me the draft, we'll go over it together until we come up with the contract.
Okay.
Which has not happened in 3 months.
Okay. But that's a separate component.
Yeah.
The first choice that you made was to say, okay, I'm going to do that.
Right.
So you could have said, gee, I don't write contracts. I don't have the background for that. Why didn't you do that?
As I remember, it was sort of an intellectual challenge. It's like, I'm smart. I can figure it out. And it seemed to me that were I to write my own contract, I could put in there things that served me rather than take whatever they handed me.
Okay.
So it's at the time, and to some degree still, it seemed the most self-supportive avenue to take.
Okay. To what degree did you not question that or say that's not something I can do because you don't want to risk saying no to a client and not giving them anything that they ask for because you don't believe that you can afford not to have the job?
I don't remember ever feeling that way about this client.
Okay, not, and
what I will say is,
not what I'm asking that you remember feeling that way.
Okay.
I'm asking, knowing where you are in general, that this client is no different from any other client.
Yeah.
Even today, with the idea that, oh, well, I've learned from this and I have options and I know that I would ask for more clarification or whatnot.
Right.
Would you, given that doing so might make you seem less capable and less intelligent and less desirable to a client, which would then make them less likely to want to hire you?
That feels true, disappointingly, but yes, it feels true.
It is so critically important to be aware of any level of lack consciousness that is unconsciously causing you to make choices, because that will sabotage there.
Right.
So recognizing that the biggest factor making these shoulda, coulda, wouldas, no, you couldn't. The biggest contributing factor is the fear that if I reveal to a client that I can't do everything that they ask me to do, that I may not get the money, I may not get the job, and of course they're my source.
Right.
And I can't survive without this.
Yes. I'm remembering that interview with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember agreeing to make the contract to do the contract myself and thinking, this is a way to get him to trust me. This is a way to get him to trust that I can do what I say I will do.
Even though it is unreasonable for you to say you can do a contract when that is not part of your skill set.
It's crazy.
It's like if I was interviewing for an editing job and saying, "Great, I certainly would like to work with you as an editor, and my toilet is stopped up, so I'd like you to do some plumbing as well."
Yes, which seems crazy to me, but yeah, I get it.
But because it wasn't that, you could rationalize that if I say no to any part of this, that I'm going to lose all of it.
Right. Yeah.
So that part of this is really important to become conscious of, because that runs as a thread through all of the stories with your clients.
Yes.
That is what's fueled this misery of fearing that you don't have work and you don't have rent. So it's that lack consciousness that's underneath.
Right.
A lot of this. And notice how hard I had to push and how deep we had to dig, because it's so buried underneath the surface.
Oh yeah, and I don't want to look bad to me.
But it's, everybody has it, and so what? You want to pretend that it's not there, or you want to actually get rid of it and have it not be there.
That is definitely the preference. I'm finally strong enough to do that.
Yeah, you are. So, recognizing that that's going to be an ongoing theme as to why you couldn't make any other choices than you made.
Yes.
In terms of the follow-up, you chose to follow up with emails.
Yep.
Anything else? Or you just sent emails?
I actually did sort of... I found out about this job because of a dear friend of mine I've known for a long time who is already an employee there.
Right.
And she had told me our proposals and all of our public-facing stuff needs help. You'd be great to do this.
Right.
Let's get you in there. So when things kind of went to nothing, I talked to her, both email and in person and on the phone, come to think of it, about the situation at the company and what avenues I might take, because she understands the culture and I don't.
Is that why you did it? Rather than actually addressing the person that you're supposed to be dealing with? And
no, you're right. I did it that way because it was a way of avoiding dealing with an authority figure that I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah. And avoiding the fear of rejection and losing this job to which you created a huge attachment. Yes. Because you thought this was your source.
Yes.
So rather than choosing to call or show up there, and how far beyond the deadline did it get before you reached out to follow up with him?
A month.
Okay. So therein also, why didn't you choose to follow up with him 3 days after his deadline passed?
Yeah, I didn't though.
Yeah. Because
he's the head of the company, and I got scared, or not scared is the wrong word.
Is it?
No, it isn't. It's the right word. I didn't want to look stupid, even though because I didn't want to be. No, stupid's wrong. I didn't want to be the person. It seemed to me that if I got in his face, he wouldn't want to work with me.
And
because it felt like,
okay,
unless I was really careful, it felt like shaming.
Okay. To whom?
Me shaming him.
Okay.
I mean, only if he accepts it, but by that same token, I have been in, it called up a lot of old corporate things that felt nasty.
Okay, so let me...
And I didn't want to deal.
Okay, so let me unpack those things. You did not hold him accountable because to you that would have felt like shaming. Because when you fail to keep your word and other people hold you accountable, you experience shame.
Yes.
So this was all your... So again, back to
projecting.
You.
Yeah.
Back to you being aware, boy, this Saturn stuff and this accountability stuff is such an important thing for you to look at and heal, because look at all of the places that it shows up.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that you couldn't follow up with something. And so who's the head of your company?
I am.
And yet he's more important because he's the head of his company.
Yeah, what's wrong with that, right? Well,
nothing's wrong with it, but just...
I just decided that it was Orwellian. He was more equal than I was.
So, again, multiple levels, and so much of this is Saturn. That's Saturn authority stuff, that's Saturn father stuff, that's Saturn...
Yes.
All of this is Saturn. But just also look at that and realize, isn't it true? You're the head of your own company. You're the CEO. You're the boss. You have the same title and the same position and the same responsibilities to your company in your domain as he has to his.
But I didn't see that.
No. Because you were giving away all your power to him.
Yes. Absolutely. And that is a recurring theme.
Yeah. And don't you get to choose the people you want to work with? Didn't you leave corporate so that you didn't have to work with people you didn't want to work with?
Yeah. Oh, the landmines have been there the whole time. Okay.
Yeah, but it's just... It's the levels of... because it's never about what it's about.
No.
We tell ourselves a story that, oh, this is different. Oh, it's still about the same stuff. It's just going to show up in another way.
Yeah.
And when it shows up another way 2 or 3 times, you go, oh.
There it is.
Maybe it's about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's move on to the archetypes. I think we've addressed as much as needs to be addressed about just the story. But before I do that, how are you feeling regarding this now?
This may not make any sense. I feel taller. Mm-hmm. It's like I pulled up out of that fetal position, mm-hmm. and I can sit up and look at the world.
Well, we've told the truth. We've told the truth about this story in non-threatening, very specific, systematic ways through this questioning process.
Yeah.
And yes, it's revealed that you've got a lot of work to do, and it's revealed the big issues, but having just gone through this, just looking at this, going from that bigger, broader issue of lack consciousness and whatnot, questioning this specific story, which is what the lens that it was focused through.
Right.
Telling the truth about this story, what's your level of safety now?
I'm feeling very safe because I'm feeling empowered now.
You've taken your power back. This story does not mean what you were telling yourself that it meant.
Not at all.
You are back at a place where you can look at this and say, I don't have to keep telling this story this way. And I can make different choices now. And now I genuinely understand better what my options are. Because you've still got those old patterns and beliefs running. They're still going to limit you. But at least now you're conscious. So the expectations that you're going to set are going to be more in line with, well, given what I actually can do, knowing that I'm still running a certain amount of lack consciousness here, and that I've still got a certain amount of Saturn issues, that I can be conscious of them, but there's only so far out of that comfort zone that I can realistically expect to go.
Right.
But the options that you can look at now are really options.
Yes.
As opposed to unrealistic expectations.
Well, I don't feel like I'm sitting underneath that sword hanging over me anymore.
Exactly.
I feel like the sword is now internalized, and it's facing the other way.
Yeah. Good. Okay.